Boys and girls on film.
Girls and boys. No.
On film?
Yeah, on film, yes.
I have no idea what...
Girls, that's Duran Duran, girls on film.
We didn't have Duran Duran in Canada.
I directed Girls and Boys on Film. We couldn't settle on a title. Whatever Happened to Emma Pillsbury was one of them, which I thought was awesome. Cinema Paragliso.
Girls and Boys on Film is such a huge episode.
It has songs from all kinds of great movies, like Moulin Rouge.
Gentlemen Prefer Blondes? Is that what that's from?
No, it's from Moulin Rouge, because it's called Sparkling Diamonds.
Footloose.
Top Gun /
Risky Business.
Risky Business.
Animal House.
Ghost.
The Royal Wedding.
Is that it?
No.
What's it called? What's it called? With John Cusack.
Anything.
Yes, there
Say
we
anything.
go. There we go.
So in this episode, Darren and I performed Come What May from Moulin Rouge, which is actually one of my favorite songs ever from one of my favorite movies ever. So I was very, very excited. And although I can be overwhelmed at times from the Blaine fandom, and sometimes I feel like these girls just reach through Twitter, they just grab you and you get sucked into it. I was able to put aside all that fear because the number was so great, and I thought we did a good job with it.
For this episode, I actually did get to replicate things that had been done before. For Come What May, which is a really amazing song when you watch that movie, I remember seeing it being like, oh man, how cool is that to be in like a musical theater movie where they get to have these sweeping sets with the fog and the surreal mise-en-scène. And I got to create that with Criss Colfer. You see Say Anything, and then you see John Cusack with the stare, and that gives you that feeling of like, oh, how cool is that?
That song, In Your Eyes, probably one of the best drum tracks of any song.
All my instincts, they return. The grand facade so soon will burn.
I didn't feel any pressure of trying to recreate a famous film moment because, you know, it was a different scenario. And we were paying homage to that moment.
Will, are you crazy?
The song that turned out the best, I thought, was the Say Anything moment. It seems very simple. You just have Will come up with a boombox. And what you can tell is everybody's squinting very, very intensely. It's because they're looking at these lights that are bouncing off all this snow. He was tearing up, and like tears coming down his face that weren't emotional at all. It was like, I can't see anything.
Revving up your engine, listen to a howl and roar.
Risky Business, Top Gun, iconic, amazing movies, made Tom Cruise what he is today.
There's a moment in the boys mashup when they all pretend to be planes that I thought was hilarious.
They had Kevin McHale kind of pretending to be the jet.
They just tilt him and sort of just like, Blaine just sort of like caresses his wheel, which is just really funny. It was just sort of like, take a look at this wheel.
The dress shirt just covers the underwear, so it kind of looks like you're not wearing anything but a shirt, so that's kind of funny itself,
Glee
too.
going wild. I feel like everybody knows at least that scene from Risky Business where he slides out like that. I think for a split second, I was like, ooh, this is weird. A little embarrassing. And then after I dropped my sweatpants, I was like, let's do this.
Yeah, he was
ready
game.
To go. I was ready.
Game.
Yeah, I was all Tom Cruise-ified.
Out of Top Gun and Risky Business, which Tom Cruise I prefer is definitely Risky Business.
Tom Cruise from Top Gun.
Risky Business, Tom.
Top Gun for me.
I think I'd definitely hang out with Mav. There's sort of nothing cooler than him and Goose taking off in an F-14.
Today in the choir room, we are doing Sparkling Diamonds.
Diamonds are a girl's best friend.
I felt we were a little Moulin Rouge heavy, so I sort of wanted to move as far away from that as we could and reference the original Marilyn Monroe stuff.
The ladies are going to be in these gowns. Let's not have them move as much, and let's have the movement come in the diamonds, in the arms, and the fans.
It was Zach's idea to use fans, which was a fantastic idea.
Those fans were treacherous.
A little difficult.
In the beginning.
The rehearsal period, I think I had gone through maybe like 2 or 3 of them because they were just breaking and breaking and breaking. And then when we got there that morning, they were like, so there's only 15 left in the country, so if you can ease up on breaking them, that'd be great.
Well, an insider secret to my look for diamonds is that I was just centimeters away from busting out of that dress. It was so tight.
Our favorite part of Sparkling Diamonds is everything's going so well!
Everything's going so well! Target lady does Moulin Rouge. Everything's going so... I can't do it anymore.
So talented.
I gotta cut loose, foot loose, kick off your Sunday shoes.
Footloose was was fun the first 2 times we did it. It was a lot of kicking over one another.
And people, you had to kick your leg over somebody, so she would like kick me.
I would like do that.
I was battered and beaten during Footloose.
When we went to choreography, it was super intense. I think it's the hardest dance we've done.
I didn't get kicked nearly as much as Becca did. Cord was kicking her a lot.
Cord was also singing the number, so on top of having to do the choreography, he's singing. So he would short circuit and just his
legs
feet
would go everywhere.
be flying, and I would just be getting, you know, abused.
Zach's brilliant. He had me put shoes on.
It's so
and
funny.
just did it with my hands and then threw off the shoes and then wheeled her out.
We have these really cool black Converse with red soles, so we're doing all of this choreography that accentuates the red sole.
He like loved it.
I kind of lived for it.
If I think of a Ren McCormick, I immediately think that maybe Blake Jenner. Blake's a surprisingly good dancer and really funny when he dances. He sort of moves well.
The one person I think out of the cast that would be the Ren McCormick is Jacob. Because out of all of us, out of all the guys right now, like Jacob is the most experienced. He knows ballet, he knows all this stuff, and he can totally pull off all those moves.
No, maybe Matt Morrison.
Actually, yeah, that's a good answer.
Yeah.
The first Broadway show I ever got was Footloose. I started out in the ensemble, and then I understudied Ren, so I went on for Ren a lot. And it's funny because the guy who was playing Ren is now my agent. What? Hollywood. And when we dance together, why, my universe becomes topsy-turvy, like gravity was never invented.
It was Ryan's idea to do the number from A Royal Wedding. It's such a simple gimmick.
Fred Astaire, it took him 2 months to do his number. Lionel Richie, I heard it took 6 weeks for Dancing on the Ceiling. And for us, we learned it in like 6 hours. We start the number, it looks like it's gonna be this regular thing, just in this nice little hotel room. And then I come over to the desk, and then that's when the axis starts moving. And gravity slides me under the desk, and then I get onto this sofa, and then all of a sudden, boom, I'm on the side wall now. But then it goes this way, and then it comes back around, and then I end up on the floor again, sitting in the seat. And a lot of times, like, you're just sitting you have to look like you're just chilling out in a seat, but the room's spinning this way, so I'm really just holding on with this arm, like, just look normal, look normal, look normal. Okay, I gotta jump.
Matt, actually in that number, he was saying after we shot it, the day after, he barely could walk. One of the tricky things about shooting it is we had to get it in one take. We can't cut. If you put a cut in it, there's no point to doing it. Like, the whole idea is to show the trick, which means we had to get a perfect take. The first one they did was great. And then we sort of sat down and we're like, well, but it wasn't perfect. So it's a bit demoralizing because for the actors, I think they know that every time you're like, okay, one more time, it means that wasn't right.
Even better.
We ended up using the 9th take. They did it 9 times. So it's a pretty perfect shot and a good way to start the episode.
You're definitely gonna have to watch it a couple times to see, because you see what Matt does, and then you see Jayma's reaction to things. The first time he gets onto the wall, she looks in shock, but then claps like, oh, look what my sweetie did. He just jumped on a wall. You know, it's so, those kind of things are adorable. And then when she has her physical parts, where it looks like she's balancing, and then she just floats down a wall like, ta-da, did you see me? I can do tricks too.
I've seen Animal House a couple of times, like a long time ago, but the one thing that stuck in my mind, obviously, was Shout.
Shout!
You know you make me wanna lift my head up and throw my hands back in.
The challenge with that number was to blow it out a little bit. But as we were sort of breaking the story in the writer's room, the idea came up that Blaine would sort of be like the Pied Piper, just leading his way down the hallway, and then it was very easy to shoot with that in mind.
We did it all over the school, which was fun. I feel like if we actually did that in real life, that would have been
really
a
fun.
blast. We just toured through the school.
We prolonged the 500th number by doing like 3 days of Shout.
500!
How did we do that?
When I think about the fact that we've hit 500 now, I immediately go back to thinking about the first musical number we ever did, doing Don't Stop Believing.
Get back to work. I don't care if it's your 500th number. Let's go.
I know. Hey, I'm Zach.
I'm Brooke.
We've made it to our 500th musical number. We're exhausted, but there's a plan.
We do breakdown videos of every dance to help everyone have an idea of what's coming up to shoot and help the actors remember what's happening. So we decided to do a crew breakdown, and so they could see the rehearsal process of what we do.
They didn't tell us anything, but they were like, all right, so we were in the back behind the cafeteria, and they were like, all right, so before you run out.
You know, guys, it's not working. It's not cutting it. We're like,
We're like, this is so weird. And
like, what's going on? What are they doing?
And so then they start the music, and we go out there, and it's all the crew members doing it, and it was
in Glee shirts, just clapping and
they
doing
were filming
all
it all.
Even from the production offices that aren't necessarily on set all the time, everybody that works on the show that could be there was there in these red 500 number Glee t-shirts, and they were singing along.
They had taken all of the students that had filled the cafeteria tables, and it was the whole crew sitting there.
They still had us dance, and they recorded the whole thing.
There were speeches.
Zach Woodley cried, which made everybody else cry.
Yep.
I got pretty emotional because I realized that Zach and Brooke, who have done every single number.
He's choreographed 500 numbers, and none of them look the same, and I think that that's amazing.
I meant to talk about the fantastic crew and all the work they actually do to make these actors look incredible, and Brooke is who I saw first, and it just sort of fell apart. Because this crew works so hard, and I think everyone is so good at their job that you forget, because you see the final product, but you forget how many people sacrifice all of their time in their life, and they love their job, and it was just, it was one of those good times.
There's some awesome musical numbers out there, and it's kind of cool that we can bring them back and share them with a new generation.